Maybe it is a trans therapist, because they know how to finagle what they write in the way of a script. The kid desists, then it's just like, okay, get rid of the puberty blockers. They just go through late puberty.
It's legal bullshit.
Transgenderism, LGBTQ AAIP with a silent number 2, it's the cause du jour, with celebrities clamoring to be the surgically altered face of the movement looking to hit the gender dysphoria jackpot. Of course, it's not without its skeptics and critics.
I don't believe in allowing children to undergo medical gender transition.
What I give a shit is if you step in and you in any way interfere with the development of a child because you think it's the right thing to do progressively.
Sex is hardwired from before birth and it cannot change.
I don't think 3-year-olds can be transgendered. This is wrong.
And naturally, the inevitable reactionary accusation of transphobia or fear-mongering ensues. But as per usual, we can't rely on the media to give us the true story. So my producer and I decided to go undercover with the grassroots, the real activists in the LGBTQ AAIP movement to see really what they believe and, more importantly, what they're actively pushing for on a legislative level behind the scenes. So don't believe the hype. They're not targeting your children. They don't want to take any of your hard-earned tax dollars. They just want to live and let live.
The puberty blockers are not irreversible.
Kids will let you know. By 18, it's so late.
I am on Medicaid. By law, they are required to cover transition-related surgeries.
Granted, at first glance, that could seem bad, but context is key. So let's provide it. Not Gay Jared and I attended the What the Healthcare Trans Town Hall in Burlington, Vermont to see what goes on behind the scenes, behind closed doors. Of course, two right-wingers like ourselves would need an impenetrable disguise.
I'm not trans, we're gay. The joke is kind of just the basic B of the LGBTQ.
Nailed it! So before anything else, we wanted to just sit and listen. What was at the top of the agenda? What equal rights were these people fighting for?
We just recently rewrote our medical policy to call it transgender services, and we took out gender dysphoria out of there.
Okay, so ditching actual medical terminology, we're good with that.
Sorry, could someone clarify, because we're looking about moving here. I know insurance is a whole different ballgame. What is Medicaid?
A lot of people are on Medicaid.
Okay.
It had not been previously. It was sort of like, it used to be only for people that are below the poverty line, and that's not the case anymore. It's expanded, it's complicated, it's American.
But it is covered, transition surgery is covered under Medicaid here?
The Medicaids are administered at the state level.
Okay.
And at the state level, it is, all insurances are required to cover this particular surgery. So basically, they cover it, but there's no one who provides it.
Okay.
So it's legal bullshit.
They say no, and you have to not take that answer.
I've had people over the years win appeals to get surgeries covered in Massachusetts and Philadelphia.
I've also heard of people who have petitioned Vermont Medicaid with the assistance of Vermont Legal Aid, and it goes into a hearing, and I think a few people have been successful.
We're going to offer group therapy. I was just talking to Colleen about insurance codes. We'll be guiding local therapy activities with clients as how they see fit until they feel this is how I want to sound.
Do an appeal and plead your case. Do an appeal and plead your case.
Now, wait, okay. This whole meeting is about how to get taxpayers to pay for their surgery. And most of these people are completely unemployed. This is the equal rights fight? Free hormones, breasts, and vocal coaching? What's next? Demanding taxpayer-funded electrolysis?
Does Blue Cross Blue Shield have a specific code for folks getting electrolysis? When you're faced with a forest on the face, even light doesn't shine all the way through a forest.
Pause. Yeah, that sound is me desperately trying not to laugh. Yes, apparently equal rights now includes the right to look like this guy. But this all begs the question, if we're throwing out actual medical definitions, precedent, science, and then demanding that the taxpayers foot the bill for any and all preference-based medical procedures, how far does it go? Who gets to say it's okay? Would they be cool, for example, with paying for breast surgery for a non-trans woman? Here's my wife and her friend posing as lesbians asking just that.
I have always felt like with my body, like a bigger breasts would really help me to identify more and my partner just like to feel more comfortable in my body. And it's something I've really struggled. So I know that sounds like really weird, but I mean, we're all family here, right? So that's something I've really, really struggled with. We don't have the financial means to do that. And so it almost feels like sexist that the doctors will, Medicare will cover this for the trans community, but for someone struggling like me, like what do I do? Do I tell them that I just want to get top surgery and I'm defining myself as trans? Like,
this is maybe unique, but you go the same route. You work with a therapist who's willing to make the case. Like, from my assessment, having worked with this client, this is medically necessary surgery.
That's Dr. Rex Butt. Yes, Rex Butt. And he's doing the Lord's work. And I mean, really doing the Lord's work.
I felt silly asking, but I appreciate you saying that. I know it's a little bit unusual.
No, I think it's very brave. You're in a room full of strangers. You came to get some answers and you asked a question. So, thank you.
I just listen to tips, So I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I definitely. That's fine. I think you could if you search around, and maybe it is a trans therapist because they know how to finagle what they write in the way of a script saying this is what's needed and here are the reasons why.
What's important here, I understand it, some people don't get a fair shake. Okay, some people are victims, but some people meet in secret to try and con the American taxpayer by any means possible. And it would be funny if it weren't for what comes next. Quick side note, did anyone else notice this?
It doesn't necessarily fall into the category of dysphoria in that traditional sense.
Come again, what happened to not using the term dysphoria? Oh wait, that's reserved for trans, not attractive actual women? Carry on.
So wait, would she have dysphoria in a clinical sense? I guess I'm trying to understand, because we don't want to misuse terms. Like I said, we're just, as two gay males in Montreal, we're such a big part of the community, we're always learning. Is dysphoria an offensive term?
It can be for some people. I mean, so much of this really does depend on the individual person.
There was transsexualism, there was all sorts of words that are offensive in many different ways, and some people still own them. And so it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Okay, now for the most concerning issue, how flippantly these people are willing to target and treat your children.
We have adopted a boy. He's about 6 now. He has said that feels like a girl, prefers playing with dolls, and of course we don't want to discourage it. We spoke with our primary care physician. He said wait until the boy is fully developed.
To say wait until they develop is a little vague, and I would say a little inaccurate from the research I've done.
By 18, it's too late.
Now, this is seriously disconcerting because the ramifications of allowing children to go through transition can be about as severe and permanent as it gets. From brain abnormalities to height to potentially permanent fertility issues. Not to mention how it affects their sex life, or potentially their inability to ever achieve any sexual pleasure ever again. They're making decisions that affect their permanent sex lives before they've even reached the age of sexual consent. Now, if that weren't backwards enough for all you intolerant bastards, when a child does undergo transition before puberty, for example, they actually run into the problem of not having enough tissue to do the sex change in the first place, as publicized by Jazz Jennings. But our Dr. Rex Butt had an answer for that.
When the testicle reaches a particular diameter and the penis is developed enough, then there'll be enough. If you're going to transition the other way, there'll be enough material to create a vagina.
Yeah, these people were so passionate about cautiously erring on the side of blocking puberty that they took us aside to stress its importance afterward.
The puberty blockers are not irreversible. That's the entire point. It gives the child time, the young someone at the pre-adolescent age going into those adolescent,
have more
time to understand themselves.
There you go. When in doubt, tread lightly and err on the side of irreparably damaging a child's endocrine system and developing brain in the name of progress. Now, this wouldn't be so disturbing if this also weren't policy of today's progressive wing in the Democratic Party, and it's exacerbated by the fact that they lie about the actual results.
If the kid desists, then it's just like, okay, get rid of the puberty blockers. They just go through late puberty and everything's still lined up. There's no indication there's any damage.
Only that's not true. According to a recent review of 50 studies on puberty suppression, the evidence that something like normal puberty will resume for these patients after puberty suppressing drugs are removed is very weak. This is because there are virtually no published reports, even case studies of adolescents withdrawing from puberty suppressing drugs and then resuming the normal pubertal development typical for their sex. Now, again, what's their justification?
Yes, there is some conformity there, but it's perception versus reality. So what we're trying to do is make that perception the reality for that person.
They came up with the idea, well, we will encourage masculine behavior. And we will not say anything about any feminine behavior. So it was instinctive conditioning.
As again, you can guess that's not true. And it's not a decision that a child can make, especially considering that those with gender dysphoria who undergo surgery and hormone replacement therapy are still 19 times more likely to commit suicide than the general population. And that's possibly the most important point in all of this. In today's LGBTQ AAIP political agenda-driven climate, these children often aren't the ones making these actual decisions.
My daughter just turned 39. I raised them totally non-gender specific.
Okay, so but you raised her the whole time gender non-specific.
As much as I could. I mean, they played baseball,
and then she became,
they played basketball.
and then she came out as trans later.
Yeah, she didn't. There wasn't the language. She didn't know she was trans.
And you fostered that and whatever.
And I got blamed for it.
Okay, hold that thought. Considering that data shows us about 85 to 90% of children with gender dysphoria completely grow out of it, yeah, maybe the fact that you threw out his toxically masculine G.I. Joes, gave him a feather bow, and told him to shake some fake tits around mommy's walk-in had something to do with it. Okay, here's a shocker, and a number sometimes thrown out that doesn't provide context. When you change that stat to those who undergo puberty blockers, that number drops to 0%. That's right, if a parent does their job and makes sexually responsible decisions for their young child before the age of sexual consent, they stand an 85 to 90% chance of living a well mentally adjusted normal life. But if before that kid's brain even develops the motor skills to ride a scooter, the parents put them on mind-altering permanent hormone replacement therapy, they stand a 100% chance to be in the statistical risk pool of a 20-time suicide rate, brain abnormality, sexual dysfunction, and mental instability for the rest of their lives. But don't you dare speak out against it or speak in support of children incapable of making sexually responsible, mature decisions before the age of consent. Science, medical data, that's all thinly veiled hate speech against progress.
Kids were let, I had fur on my face in the 7th grade. It's like pulling teeth to get rid of them.
They know how to finagle what they write.
Do you repeal in each case? My kids had dolls. They're both boys. They had stuffed animals. They had trucks.
So you gave them dolls before they even decided what they wanted to play? Before we get to that. Okay, that's your daughter.
Beautiful.
Looks like our friend, looks like our friend Milo.
And she has had
Doesn't
gender
it
reassignment
look like
surgery.
her?
It does look like Milo a little bit.
Facial surgery.
Hey, did you like this video? What, you didn't? Oh, you're a cat person? Well, that makes sense. Disregard him and or her/Z. Everyone else, hit the subscribe button and leave your comment below as to why you like this video. You know what, crazy cat, you can get back. You can comment below too as to why you don't like it.